What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So Fundays 2025 is officially in the books, and now that all of the items released from Fundays at the in-person event, as well as the items in the take-home boxes, they've all been swimming around the aftermarket for the last 2 weeks. So I thought we could take a look at the secondary market and see how some of the rarer and most limited and most desired items are trending in value. And some of these are really interesting. I'm pretty excited to talk about some of these because I think it actually could be a really good time for some of you. If you've waited, if you didn't let that FOMO bug get you, could be a good time to pick up some of these items. But let's jump into it. I think the first thing that I'm very excited and very happy to report is that Pop Price Guide actually has a decent amount of captured sales for us to look at here. In the past, come 2 weeks out, 4 weeks out, heck, even 2 months out from Fundays and San Diego Comic-Con, they traditionally have not had good sales data. So I'll give them credit where credit is due. Overall, Pop Price Guide has been terrible to the community here in 2025, but once again, I'll give them credit where credit is due. They at least have some good data points for us to pull from for the Fundays items that we're about to look at. So here we go. First item that we're going to talk about for today. We got Freddy Funko as Iron Man. I have criticized this one up, down, sideways, just a head swap. Absolutely pathetic. Funko has the ability to create some amazing figures, yet they decided to give their creativity team the day off and just did a simple head swap Freddy here for the Civil War version of Iron Man. This one was very limited. This was the most limited Freddy Iron Man that we got. 150 pieces, and he's diamond. Why on earth is he diamond? Whatever. That's another issue for another day. This one, interestingly enough, started its sales history on the aftermarket here on a sale from June 22nd on Whatnot, sold for $2,150. This one actually sold before Fundays, which is really interesting. The most recent sale is from July 6th for $1,100 on eBay, currently sitting at an estimated value of $1,200. And I don't know where this one is going to fare out long term. We did get a regular 1,500 piece Iron Man as well as a Blacklight version of Iron Man. If I'm going after this Freddy, personally, I would just want the regular one. I don't know why Iron Man is Blacklight, and I also don't know why Iron Man is Diamond. I think the only thing that's going to keep this one significantly high in value compared to your average pop is that 150 piece count on the front. Other than that, I don't think that this is a great Freddy. I think they could do a lot better. Moving on to the second item of the day, we have a Franny Funko to talk about. This is Franny as Wonder Woman, the metallic, limited to 50 pieces. And this is a big deal. This is the most limited Franny Funko that we've gotten to date. We saw a couple other very rare Franny, some of which we're going to be talking about here, but I'm very excited for this version of Franny. Thankfully, there's a lesser limited one, that I can definitely try to work on getting for my collection. But this one, only 2 sales. Initial sale, $3,300. That was on July 3rd on eBay. And then the most recent sale was July 7th, also on eBay, for $1,500. So sitting at an estimated value of $2,400. I would say that's probably a good number to go off of, right smack in the middle of the $3,300 and $1,500. This one I do think will carry a lot of value long term, just because as it stands right now, this is the most rarest Franny's, and I don't think Franny Funko has really had her day in the sun yet. I think it's going to be 2 to 5 years before people, and when I say people, I mean the overall general community of collectors, actually caring about Franny the same way or in a similar fashion to how they react and care to Freddy. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of people who care about Franny for a long time. So if this one comes down low enough, hopefully it'll be in a range where I can try to swing it. But for right now, $2,400, $1,500 is way out of my budget, but pretty cool to see this one, as it should be, 50 pieces in that quadruple digit range. Next up, we've got Freddy Funko as Leonardo, limited to 500 pieces. Why does Funko keep doing this with the Freddy Turtles? For those of you guys who don't know, back in 2014, we got all 4 of the Freddy Turtles. Raphael was limited to 300 pieces, reasonably attainable for a lot of people back in the day. There wasn't nearly as many people collecting. And then Funko threw us a terrible curveball, and the rest of the Turtles were limited to 24 pieces, which means only 24 people could have the entire original set of the Turtles. So I got excited when I saw the first leak for the Freddy Funko as Leonardo. However, Funko has only given us this one turtle. They didn't give us the other 3 members. So are they holding out and going to be sprinkling them into other big events, future Fundays? Who knows? But just taking the Freddy Funko as Leonardo for what it is amazing. I love how they actually got creative with this one. They made Freddy's face green like the rest of his turtle body. He's got his weapons. He's got the signature, you know, blue and blue mask and blue crown as Leo would have with the blue color scheme. This one, 500 pieces, metallic. We do have several data points captured here for sales. First one happening on June 30th. For $300, and the most recent one was also $300 on July 10th, which gives this one an estimated average value right now of $300, which I think is very fair. I mean, if you look at all the sales, I mean, they all hover around $300. So $300 might be the standard value for this one for a long time, because you have multiple people on multiple platforms, you know, completely comfortable with paying that price for Freddy Leonardo. 500 pieces is, I would say, the equivalent of a 300 piece back in 2014, where 11 years later, 500 pieces is pretty rare here in 2025. Moving on, we've got Franny as the Pink Ranger. Now, there's several versions of Franny as the Pink Ranger. I got to get one of these for my collection. I don't think this one is going to be it. We've got the metallic 100-piece version, the show-only version here. This one, very limited. Once again, kind of a similar story to the Franny as Wonder Woman, even though there's 50 extra pieces here. First one sold on June 27th on Whatnot for $1,500. And then the most recent sale here was for $500. So you're seeing $1,000 swing in sales in the span of 10 days. That's pretty crazy. And this is currently sitting at an estimated value of $630. I think this one, I don't know. We'll see. I think this one could go pretty low, just because we do have the regular non-metallic version of the Franny as the Pink Ranger. People just, like I kind of mentioned it before with the Wonder Woman, people don't care about Franny the way they care about Freddy. And, you know, this is at the end of the day just a head swap Franny with the pink crown. So I'm hyped for this. I like how they're adding on to the Freddy Turtles, or excuse me, Freddy Power Ranger line by, you know, expanding with getting Franny and the female Power Rangers here in on the action. If they do a Franny Yellow Ranger, I think that's really going to open up the door for a lot of people trying to collect all of these. But I think the multiple variants and the fact that it is Franny is really going to hurt the long time, you know, potential value of this one. Once again, the saving grace is that 100 piece count on the front of the box. Next up, I got to talk about this one, because despite all the crap that everybody was giving the Freddy Lanterns, myself included, people are paying for them on the aftermarket much more than I expected. So could we see a little bit of a resurgence and turning the tide with the Freddy Funko Lantern Corps? Because maybe people might be trying to go out and collect all the colors. I know that's something that I'm potentially interested in doing long term if I can get my hands on most of them. So we pulled a couple in our Box of Fun opening. If you guys didn't see that video, I will link it up above. Definitely go check it out. But right here, we've got the 500-piece Freddy Funko as Sinestro core here. And this one started out of the gate, I think pretty high. Yeah, we're coming in. First sale was on June 28th for $225. Okay, not too bad on eBay. And then the most recent sale was for $60. So pretty big swing right there. And they are giving this one an estimated value of $95. I mean, whoever secured a 500-piece pop, no matter what pop it is, for $60, that's a steal. And to get a Freddy 500-piece for a, you know, $60 price tag is unbelievable. But we'll see how the Freddy Lanterns go. They're all the same mold. They're all different colors. They're all different piece counts. It's really going to depend on if Freddy collectors, or just regular collectors in general, want to go out and collect the whole rainbow of the Freddy Lantern Corps. I feel like that's going to make or break all of the Freddy Lanterns. I just wish to this day still, you know, we're 2 weeks out, I still wish they would have made some of them just a couple different molds. I really think that would have saved a lot of the hype with that. But there was plenty of hype with this pop here, as we're moving on to another beautiful, extremely limited horror Freddy. We do not get a lot of horror Freddys, and the horror collecting community, they go hard. So right here we got the 150-piece Blacklight Freddy Funko as Michael Myers. I commend Funko for creating Freddy Funko as Michael Myers. And I think this one in particular, the blacklight works. I love the blue hair, the yellow crown, the blood splatter, the knife, everything about this Freddy just screams horror to me. And I think blacklight doesn't apply well to most characters here in 2025. But with this one, I think it looks amazing. This one is very expensive. We do have several data points here for sales, which is kind of shocking considering it's a 150 piece pop. So the first one that we had sold here was for $1,900 on June 27th. And then the most recent sale we have here is for $1,330. This was an eBay sale on July 11th. So not too crazy of a swing from the crazy hype of the few days of Fundays to, you know, only 2 days ago on July 11th, or 3 days ago as of this video dropping. But they are giving this one an estimated value of $1,480, which I think this Freddy is not going to dip below $1,000 just because of how diehard Freddy fans are, horror fans are, and the regular Michael Myers I think is still cool, but I think you're going to have a lot of people really going after this one just because of how unique it is, and also, of course, how rare it is. That 150 piece really matters. Next up, we got to talk about another horror Freddy here. We've got Freddy Funko as Night of the Living Dummy, and this is a Goosebumps Freddy, and I think this one has all the potential in the world to be a long-term grail here. So this was glow in the dark. The glow is amazing because this figure is all green, show only, 500 pieces, and let's see, let's scroll down here. A lot of data points captured, which I like. Finally get my money's worth here for my Pop Price Guide subscription. This one sold out of the gate, $600, best offer accepted price on June 27th on eBay. And then the most recent sale, also on eBay, was for $166.50 on July 7th. But they are currently estimating it with a value of $260. I could see this one really not dipping below 100. I don't think it will because of its, you know, it's 500 pieces. But I think you're going to see a massive resurgence with some of these horror Freddys, especially around Halloween. So this upcoming end of September, October timeframe, I think you're going to see a lot of these horror Freddys spike. So if you're a horror fan, get your butt in gear and go grab whatever you're trying to grab right now, because if you can pick up this one for $166, I think that's a fantastic price. You also got to keep in mind the regular version. There was a second variant of the Night of the Living Dummy Freddy here. It's not glow in the dark. He's not green. He's just the regular colored version. And I think that having two variants, but each variant is different and unique in its own way, that encourages people who are a fan of this character to go out and collect both, and it also encourages the more rare or more unique one to be much higher in value because there is significant difference between the two, which is something that we're not seeing enough of with a lot of these characters that are dropping. I really wish Funko would go back to the old days and they just drop one of each character. So there's, 2019, we had Freddy as Ant-Man, Freddy as Black Manta, Freddy as Aquaman, Freddy as the Genie. Like, there was no variance for most of those. Genie, we got a regular and a metallic, but, it was few and far between compared to now where we're getting 3, 4, in some cases even more variants of a certain figure. I mean, especially with the Freddy Lantern core. All right, next up, we got another amazing horror Freddy that I want to talk about because, like I just mentioned, with only having one variant of each character, that really has a lot of potential for long-term growth and value for certain figures, and Freddy Funko as Dracula is one that you want to keep your eyes out on. This one was an online box exclusive, not exclusive to the in-person event. 1,500 pieces here. This one first sold out of the gate for $260 on July 1st on Whatnot, and then most recent sale was for $80 on eBay. So, a pretty significant swing. You're talking about a, $180 swing in the span of 10 days. So, pretty significant, but you got to remember, FOMO gets a lot of people, and as more and more people were pulling these out of their take-home boxes, they were, of course, going and selling them on the secondary market, but I think this has a lot of potential. I think Funko did an amazing job on this mold. Dracula, highly popular character, and one that I definitely foresee spiking around Halloween. Next up, we're going to talk about another really unique Freddy that I think you guys should keep your eyes out on. This is Freddy Funko as John Cena. the translucent one that was limited to only 500 pieces. There was also a regular colored version. This one, let's check out the values here and see how John Cena is doing. This is where Funko's creativity really came to play, by the way. The fact that they made him invisible or translucent, clear, whatever you want to call it, it's just genius. This one sold out of the gate on June 27th for $420 on Whatnot. And then most recent sale was for $222.50 on eBay on July 7th. So $200 swing in the span of about 10 days. Current estimated value of $240. I would say that's pretty accurate. I don't know if I see this one dipping below like 180, 200. I think this one's going to be pretty strong just because there's not that many WWE Freddys. WWE is a very strong fan base, very strong collector base, and this one is just so unique in its own right. I think Funko just did an incredible job, and at the end of the day, it's only 500 pieces. So the last item that I want to talk about is a really unique item. It is not a pop. We briefly talked about these before in my initial reaction video to all of the Fundays items hitting the market. So right here we have the white Freddy idol titled The Grail. Now this one was limited to 70 pieces. They were all individually numbered, and from what I learned talking to people who went to Fundays, a lot of these were raffled off and, you know, given away at the end of each hour as extra bonus prizes for people who did attend Fundays in person. So 70 pieces, and the fact that this is just such a cool, unique Funko item, I think this is going to have a lot of potential for some serious growth and value down the road. But let's see how many sales we got. We do actually have a few, even though this was only 70 pieces. So first one sold on June 29th, literally at Fundays. You can see the person just went over to a park bench or the benches at, you know, Funko Hollywood, literally took a picture, eBay, boom, $3,000. I mean, that's a good payday for that person. The most recent one sold for $1,800 on eBay on July 2nd. They are estimating this one to be $1,500 in value. I feel like that's going to change. Oh, they have a fake sale here of $500. So, okay, so anywhere, okay, then they had that couple, 1,500 sale, 1,300 sale. So anywhere in the range of 1,500 to 1,800, I would say, is an accurate value for this item if you happen to have one. But what's going to be interesting about these 70 items in particular is because they're individually numbered, because there's something that Funko does not typically make, it's going to be very special. And I feel like this is going to draw a lot of collectors in to hunt these as the years go on. But once these get into collectors' hands, they're likely not going to leave collectors' hands very often. So I feel like we're going to get very few sales as far as this one. There was also the other trio of very rare ones, and then there was the Cursed Oknoff, I believe that's the one they were calling it, which is just Funko spelled backwards for the Cursed Grail idol. Super cool. Those I don't know if we'll ever have sales for because, you know, they're one of ones essentially, and they're probably going to be sold on, you know, backdoor deals. Nothing captured by the internet more than likely. But $1,500 right now for the white Freddy idol, I think is, you know, I think it's a little low for 70 pieces, and I think I won't be surprised, and you guys probably won't be surprised either, if as we continue down the road here, we see, you know, some pretty crazy sales in the thousands of dollars as a few of these pop up here and there. But those are all the items that I wanted to talk about as far as how they're trending on the aftermarket right now. I think now is a perfect time. I mean, there's a lot of Fundays items and items from the Box of Fun that are sub $50, some are sub $20. So if you missed out on the Box of Fun, if you didn't go to Fundays, if you've been holding out, you know, wait until payday, take a swim on the aftermarket and see what you can find, because I think now is the perfect time to strike. Now that the FOMO period has died down and people are now setting their sights and now refocusing here on San Diego Comic-Con, which is happening in only a few short weeks. But since today is Monday, it is time for our weekly Monday Motivation segment. Every single week here on the channel, we like to bring you guys a small piece of Monday motivation to help kickstart your week and get you through the toughest day of the week, which is typically Monday. And for today's Monday motivation, it is patience usually pays off. And patience definitely pays off with items that are released at Fundays, items that are, you know, highly sought after at San Diego Comic-Con, and it really goes for any collectible nowadays, unless it's like super rare or super limited. if you're patient, you can usually find it later on for a better deal. Of course, there are many exceptions to this rule, but in something I've been saying in the case of Funko for the last 5 years, ever since we've had a channel, if you wait it out, you will be able to get it for a lower price, more than likely, for your collection. So patience will definitely pay off. However, patience paying off is something that can also be applied and be said for real life and everything that we have going on. I know I've had a lot of situations in my life where I was waiting for jobs or I was waiting for openings, and it sucks having to wait sometimes, and it could be really dreadful, and you're beating yourself up and you're wondering, is it going to happen? Am I good enough? You know, is everything going to pan out the way I want? And I can tell you now, as somebody who's 31, if I could go back and talk to my 18-year-old self when he was super nervous and really timid and not sure how the future was going to pan out, you know, was my military career going to happen? Was I going to eventually graduate from a military academy that seemed highly prestigious and way too, you know, big and just, you know, I was just so confused as to why I was able to get in, and I was surrounded by peers who were way more intelligent than I was, better in every single which way, and I constantly doubted myself as to why I was even there. And then furthermore, just on my personal side, I spent many years just in my own head wondering, you know, am I gonna find somebody who's gonna be, you know, my life partner? Am I going to be able to find a wife? Am I going to be able to buy a house? Am I going to be able to, you know, sustain myself? You know, there's a lot of fears that go through people's minds, especially in your 20s. So there was a lot of instances where I had self-doubt. However, in most cases, I was patient and I just held my ground, stayed positive, and said, you know what, I'm just going to work really hard, and I will find my way. You know, this is the way, this is the path, and no matter how I get there, I'll get there, but I can't rush it. And that's something that you really got to hold on to. There's good things waiting for all of us. I truly believe that, but you can't rush it. Sometimes there's other people that got to go in front of you. They got to get their time first before you can get your time. And that's why you can't be jealous. You can't be envious. You can't look at somebody and go, why do they have something that I don't have? That's not fair. It's, you know, it can be applied to so many different things. Even with collecting, like, why does that person have so many grails? Why does that person have so many expensive and rare items and I don't have? It's just because it's not your time yet, but your time will come. You just got to be patient. But guys, if you enjoyed today's video, drop a comment down in the comment section below. Are you going after any of these items? Have you already secured any Fundays items for your collection? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're there, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, don't stop shooting until you score.